Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I am back to do a little mini album, and it's aviation themed, so I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I thought I would go ahead and show you kind of how I gather my stuff together to make something like this, and that would help anybody who's doing any sort of theme, junk journal or mini album. So I started with, I had this book called Airport, which I thought I would use, and I had found it like for 50 cents at our local thrift store. So I had that, but then I also found this, the Jepson old manual binder. So I think I'm going to use this for my family stuff, and then I'll have a lot of leftovers, so I figured some of the leftovers I could still make one that I could, gift to somebody. And I remember as a kid, because not only has my dad been in aviation his whole working career, but then of course as a kid, they put you to work at your father's place of business. And so I spent a lot of time doing stuff, and one of the things I did was put in the new updates to the old manuals and to all the microfiche when they used microfiche and stuff. So anyhow, so I have this, and so that's what I'm going to use to make the albums. That's my cover. And then how I do it is I've been collecting stuff for quite a while, and I just have, like this one called Airplanes. I have some other iris cases that have like beach, 4th of July, and some that are like Alice in Wonderland, because I want to make one of those journals. And then I have like rabbits and birthday and Halloween and dog and space, sci-fi, and stuff like that. So I have different categories. And then as I get a collection, a lot of times I will take out pages that fit a theme. So like this was a travel themed collection, Pink Paisley Atlas, and it had the planes on it. So I took it out of the travel collection and put it in this aviation themed. This was an old Scraptastic paper that had aircraft on it. My dad was in the Air Force, so I have some Air Force and like 4th of July themed things that I can cut around in when I put those pictures in the binder. And then I have this piece of paper, which is Echo Park Jack and Jill. Has a cool map on the back, but I love this kind of blueprint paper because my dad also built his own experimental aircraft at one point, so I have pictures of that. And again, this is another, I think, travel collection from Authentique. Oh, it's got aircraft on both sides. He did work at American Airlines for a while and Boeing. And so I've got a couple sheets of that. And this one that just has zigzags on the back. Again, another travel one. I really like that. And this one I don't like as well because it's got the cars and trains kind of vintagey, but I thought I could, maybe fussy cut some of these. It's also got sailing ships on it. So I'm not sure I'll use these ones in here, but I might cut them up. So those are the only actually themed papers that I have. And then I have stuff that I've pulled out of other books and stuff. Well, these pieces here are actually pages from a Jepson airport charts, and I have the tab. And these were sent to me by a very, very nice lady off of the Junk Journals Facebook group, and she had a bunch of the inserts and everything, so she shared some with me, and it's got like the Portland, the Oregon map in here that she put in here for me, and then a bunch of others and this pilot notes paper, and then a tab as well. So this tabbed piece is what I'm going to use to cut my pages, because I know that this fits in there and that this is my largest width and height that I can use. So I'm using that kind of as a template to cut out my sheets. I also have some stuff from a pilot manual book that I've been cutting up and using. So I have some of the illustrations from that I can use. This is a random piece of the Jack and Jill paper that had kind of some aircraft on there. A quote from that other airport book that I had. And then these are some old pages from like an encyclopedia that I took apart, and it was the A encyclopedia, so it had aviation and Air Force and airplane in that. So I took out those pages. I thought this was kind of cool. I have some other stuff. My sister-in-law had given me some old paperwork and vintage stuff that she found from Pan Am. And then I have another book, a bigger size book that had like aviation history, and I got the whole book for like, I don't know if it was 50 cents or $1, I can't remember, $1 tops. And yeah, it's just got so many cool illustrations in there. Spirit of St. Louis, I've seen that when it came to the airport. It was traveling around for air shows. Yeah, so I've just got a bunch of pages from that book, and I have the book as well, so I've got more if I need to dive into it. I have some like 4th of July or Air Force stickers, some other various little things I took out of collections that were aircraft themed. Then I have my dies. I keep my aircraft dies. I don't have many. I have a helicopter, a couple little planes, and a paper airplane. And then I have the stamps that go with this set. I have this little travel stamp and these fly high stamps. So I keep all those in there, because otherwise I would forget that I have all this. So having it all together in one spot, I have different jewelry pieces, pins, and one washi tape that I can pull from. I have this keychain that says pilot. Looks like I have some random, this is maybe Amy Tan, I don't know, some wooden die cut pieces, some extra little tags, an old business card of my dad's. He's since retired from aviation, so these are all like books and pictures and things where my dad was mentioned, and pictures from when I worked there and stuff. So this is the memorabilia I kind of want to incorporate in there, so I keep that separate. And then I also have different patches that I collected while I worked at the airport from vendors and stuff. I have 2 of the like epaulets from my dad's time in the Air Force. I have some other from my sister-in-law, some of these Pan Am stuff, some time cards, South African Airways. Oh, I have this stamp as well with the aircraft. So these are just vintage memorabilia. This vintage pieces of a balsa wood airplane toy. Some other wood pieces. Small stuff that I've taken out of various collections that was aircraft themed. Some Air Force stickers. Another patch, and then these stickers that I can use the airplanes out of. Then when I use those, I'll probably put these hot air balloons in another collection I have that has balloons in it. So this is everything that I have to work with. And so, yeah, I find it very good to coordinate my things like this, because then when I finally get around to doing the kit, I've got all these things already together. And because I know which categories I have, even if I'm doing like a travel page and I want to put something about the flight or something, I know where all my aviation stuff is. So I can still pull that. I don't lose it when I go to do other projects. But if I were to go and do aviation, would I remember I had some kind of Lori Whitlock children's thing that had aircraft in it? Well, no, probably not. So that's the reason why I group certain categories together, categories that I know I'm going to be doing something with, and that might be different. You know, not everyone's going to do like an aviation themed project. You know, you might be doing hunting, or you might be doing rock climbing or something. So you can start gathering by topics that you know you're gonna do a lot of memory keeping for. So anyhow, I wasn't sure if that would help anyone, but now I'm gonna go ahead and get started on making this mini album / junk journal. Hey everybody, so this is my journal. It's not quite finished because I need to get some journaling and stuff from my dad and talk to him about things, but I've got most of the memorabilia in here now. I'm sure I'll be adding more things as I find them, because I keep finding them in different places in storage. So let me just go through this. I didn't do much to the front cover. I just put this lapel pin from where he used to work on there, and I really like that because it's just simple, masculine, and this is a beautiful binder, so I just kind of wanted to be able to appreciate that. The lapel pin backer is on here, but because of this cardboard, I don't know what you call these things, it doesn't allow that to like scratch the photograph, so that's kind of nice. I had this keychain that I wanted to include, so I just stuck it here. I had a nice photograph that I just punched the holes right into the photograph, and then I backed the photograph with a page from the flight instruction manual book that I had, and I got a couple of photos on there, and then I used the little airplane washi tape on there. Veronica that sent me the Jepson pages from Junk Journal Junkies, I used the tabbed page here, and I made sure to leave the logo showing. Got a couple pieces of ephemera. I just stapled. I put a little glue, but I just stapled them on there. I use staples for a lot of things in this journal, so it was kind of a theme. I used my cutting die to make this slotted pocket, and I've got a business card in the bottom. I've got a couple of tags. I have this old Brad of an airplane that I put on there, and then a picture of my dad in his office. And then I have this green tag that I haven't put anything on yet, so I can do that when I find extra things. I have this tag, which I have a picture of my dad on, and then this grounded tag. And I just slotted those in there. And then I've got another picture with washi tape on the back. This was a little Xerox copy of an award he was getting that I just went ahead and punched the holes in and then just did an accordion fold to include that in there. And I didn't put anything on this, but because this was so white, I did put a scrap from another book, like the history of aircraft, on there. So I used that. And then this page was out of an old like picture encyclopedia, and so I just had this section about airplanes, And so I put pictures of the airplane that my dad built, and then his achievement award, and then some of the pictures after it was painted, and then again another slotted pocket with some more pictures. It's the guy that painted it, a friend of his painted it for him. That's my grandpa there with it, and my brother, and then just a few more photographs of the aircraft and my dad. So just, yeah, put a bunch of those, and I just used a little bit of thread on the top. And then again, I have another picture of him not too long after he got his pilot's license, when he probably took his mom and my mom up for a ride. Again, some washi tape, and then just this aircraft sticker that I had. This pocket page that I made, I used the flag paper, and I've also put a lot of his Air Force photos and a postcard that he had sent home. And again, just more of his unit and him in his uniform. And then this was just a tag, and I had these cute little metal Air Force tags in my stash, so I just put them on a ball chain and put them on here just to kind of give the feeling of, you know, dog tags and a little bit of different texture. In the pocket, I have just a little thing that I had done as a child, talking about what my dad did for work. And then I have this old newsletter from the place that he used to work, that and I was working there at the time too, and I just stuck those in there. I've got one of his epaulets and another picture of him at the Air Force. And then this page, I used a page out of an old atlas that had Turkey on there, because these pictures were when he was deployed in Turkey. And so I just have this clear acetate airplane and this Globetrotter button on there. And then I have just some newspaper clippings of that were in the newspaper when he started basic training, and then about my mom after he got out of basic training, went back to stay with him on base. And then I have this United States Air Force patch. And I had a jacket with a bunch of patches on it, and I took the patches off when the jacket was worn out and saved them. So I put all the patches kind of back in here, so I have a place to kind of keep them and showcase them a little bit. This page again was out of an encyclopedia. I have one of the eyelets from Eyelet Outlet, really old ones, that I went ahead and put one in there because I haven't used one of these in a long, long time. So it was fun to pull out these and those airplane brads that I had and use some of those in here. This says American Airlines on this, so I put pictures from when he worked at American Airlines, and I just have another little die cut that I put on there. And this is a copy of an old postcard that I had found that I put in there. I have a little flyer from where he worked, and I just folded that up and included that in here. Another picture on some great airplane paper. On the back, I just made a pocket, and I have my dad there with standing by the Blue Angels, and then just a copy out of a little magazine or something that he was in. And again, another pocket page. I used this one of paper airplanes. I put this picture and this washi tape on there, and then another patch that I just stapled. And in this one, it talks about a propeller that he helped to design for Hartzell, and I think he still has the prototype at his house, but it just talks about that. And just another picture of my dad with an airplane. This Boeing picture was out of that aviation history book, and My dad did work for Boeing, but I don't have any pictures from then. So I'm going to ask him for just some recollections about what he did there, and I'm just going to write those here in the white space. So I used some of the space to put this patch from Pratt & Whitney. Again, on the back, just another photo with some washi. I used this cute aircraft paper to make a pocket. And then I have this article that has a picture of my dad in there. Picture of my dad at a trade show. And then this was a packet of microfiche, and I used to, when I worked there, I used to do all the updates, take out the old and put in the new. And so these were some of the old ones that were destined for the trash. And I just put this picture of, that was where it was stored in the shop for the mechanics to look at, and so I just have a picture of that. And then on the back I have an old Christmas card that has everyone's pictures in it. This paper is again from that aviation history book. Another picture, and this another patch, and I've left this open so that I can stick a tag with some journaling, you know, talking about the picture. And then again, a couple more group shots that were used in Christmas cards. And then I used this like travel paper that has airplanes on it as a pocket. And I put a copy of the Master Mechanic Award that he received. And I looked online and found the eligibility. It's like you have to have worked for a period of 50 years in aviation maintenance and stuff. It talks about that. And then here where he received the actual award. So I just put those in this pocket. And then you can see the backer of another lapel pin, and that is of this aircraft engine and this patch from Garrett Engines. And then these are the gentlemen from Garrett, and so I wanted to include those together. Another flyer from where he worked that I just put in here. Another page from the encyclopedia. Just a couple photos I have to get do some journaling on there. This is another award he's getting, and these are also from the Garrett Engines, I believe. And I'm going to put the information after I talk to my dad. I've got this little tab that I stapled on here with an airplane, another fold out, and on the back, another piece of paper or page from the aviation history book, and it has that little helicopter. So I have a helicopter die cut, and then I put the Aerospatiale helicopter patch on there. And again, more pictures with place to journal. And then on this, I made a pocket on this side, and it has the certification when he made his first solo flight, getting his license. Another newspaper article, the West Wind patch. Another few pages that I had gotten from Veronica for the Out of the Jepson, and it has the Portland, Oregon airport and some surrounding areas on there, which is kind of cool. And another picture I put on this how to fold paper airplanes paper. In here I've got a couple articles that mention where he worked, or they have a picture of him and some of the stuff he did with converting aircraft into like water carriers for firefighting. And then this one is the Grand Renaissance, where they talk about prisoner transport, using aircraft for that. So I put those articles in here. And then I have this pocket on the back, And then another tag with this cute little flying ace, Brad, just of him at a convention that he was with. I don't think those are Garrett people, but I'll have to ask. I'm not sure. Maybe those are Commander people. And then I have this cute little tag that I just stapled on here. This is me when I used to work there. And that's me standing in front of a, is that a Citation or a West Wind? I don't know. Aircraft there. And then on the back, this was the office where I used to work doing invoicing and stuff like that on a IBM Selectric typewriter. And I also worked, when I first went there, I worked doing soundproofing in the airplanes. So I have a picture of soundproofing, another one of those little aircraft brads. And so I'm going to talk about when I did that. There's me typing in the office. I did a lot of logbook entries and stuff and invoices. So just some pictures of the office, my dad with some of his secretaries. And there's a cute little acetate that I just stapled onto this old time card. And then another tag with this that I stapled on the top, and just some of the offices there when I worked there. So that'll be fun to journal. There I am standing in front of, they had a lot of air shows would come there. So yeah, I got to see all the air show aircraft. This is another lapel pin that I got, and I can't remember the name of this airplane, so I'm going to ask my dad. It's modeled after someone who was flying in the air show. And then I have this little puffy sticker just pinned with it on there. There's the Blue Angels. I used an old requisition form from the place I worked, and a parts return request from Gulfstream I used to make this pocket. Just a picture when I worked in the parts department. And then in the pocket, I have just a bunch of air show, like me with Blue Angels and in front of a couple different aircraft. And I just kind of sandwiched them together. And yeah, so I just have all these different, there they are in the hangar. And I used some baker's twine, different colors to put in there. And then I also have my chalet pass from one of the air shows that I went to in 1990. So, but yeah, we always were. It was hard answering phones when they were flying in for air shows because it was so noisy. It was hard, and the windows would even rattle, and there were so many aircraft flying by and making noise, and I was still trying to answer the phone. On the back of this, I put a sticker from one of the logbook stickers that I would type when I worked in the inspection office. And then the Spirit of St. Louis page, I couldn't find the picture I took of when the replica Spirit of St. Louis came out to the Hillsborough Airport, but I had this picture I took when I went to the Smithsonian. So this is the real one and everything. So I went ahead and put that there, and another Rockwell Commander patch, and then some pictures of my parents at a New Year's party with an aviation friend put on. And I've got, like, this was one of those stamps. There was probably more stamping in here that I forgot to point out. And then this was from my dad's retirement party. And I have like the little trivia thing they would they were playing, him receiving his Rolex, some of the cakes and things, and I put it on a Gulfstream thing, and I've got another airplane Brad up there. But he had a lot of different little parties and whatnot with all these different airplane cakes, and then just his invite to the retirement celebration. And so I put those in there, and then some pictures from the party. They'd hung little balsa wood airplanes all over from the ceiling, and stuff. It was really, they decorated, it was really cute. And then in the back, I just have this clear thing with another map of the area that Veronica had sent me. And so I really love how it turned out. It's great to get this all in one spot. I didn't stress too much about getting anything in any particular type of chronological order or anything like that. I just tried to group like things together, like this was all the same, like convention. So that was, you know, that was about as far as I went as far as organizing the photos. I just kind of jammed it all in here. I wanted it to be really kind of junky and just like a lot of memories and stuff just kind of crammed into this binder. And there's still some things I want to find to put in here. I want to put some of the celebrity aircraft that came in, like the Fantasy Island plane came in, and like John Denver's plane came there, and stuff like that. And then also I want to put a picture of the original owner flew through the Tillamook blimp hangars when he was a stunt pilot, and there's a picture of that I want to put in here. And so I do have a few more things that I want to find. And then what I'm going to do is take this. I just grabbed some little aircraft type things and a bunch of tags of different shapes. And when I go to see my parents, probably later this month, I will take this binder with me, and I'll sit down with Dad and have him talk about those, and I'll write some labels and stuff up right at that time and get the descriptions straight from him. And then I didn't forget about the little book I had called Airport. I used a bunch of stuff that didn't get used in the other one. And because this one had the silver wording, I went ahead and put this silver airplane keychain that I had, and I attached it to the front with just this little, on this little hook that goes through. And I used a silver set of rings, binder rings on the inside. And I just had this piece of chipboard and this little globe button flare that I put on the front. So it's pretty simple, but I really like it. And yeah, so I left the front couple pages so you can see the, you know, the name of the book, and it was copyright 1968. And then I just used pages from that aircraft history. Here's just some little cloud paper that I put an airplane brad on. Here's a little airplane die cut. Here's some stamping that I did. More from that history. This piece of Pan Am ephemera. I made a little pocket out of, I think this is out of that flight manual. And I put a little tabbed, like almost like a Rolodex card in there. I used another patch because I had several of those patches. A little bit more stamping, a little die cut. I turned this into a pocket, which I need to put a tag in here. I'll have to find a tag to go in there. And this is another piece of Pan Am ephemera. I had a piece of this paper left that just had one airplane on it, so I made it into a little pocket on this airplane paper. And then I've just got some tags, business card, and stuff that I put in there. I've got this pocket page that I put another little aircraft tag with an aircraft brad on it and an airplane sticker across the bottom. Another piece of aircraft themed paper, die cut helicopter, some more cloud paper, some more stamping, and I used this airplane paper bordered piece to make a tab at the top. It's a piece of duct tape on there. Another pocket thing with some different little tags in there. And I used it from that Aviation book. Another piece of South African Airways ephemera. And another piece of paper with some stamping on it. And it was backed with a page from that flight manual. And then again, another piece of paper with, has some quotes on the back and some aircraft on there. And then just a few more little tags and stuff that I put in there. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put in this one or do with it. It might be just overflow stuff as I find it. I'm not sure. I might give it to someone in the family. But yeah, so that was my little guy. I didn't forget him because I knew if I didn't do it right now while I was doing all that other stuff, it'd probably never get done. And then this book would be sitting around forever. So these are the finished books, and I really love how they both turned out. This one, it was perfect to fit all of this. I mean, it's not splaying out. There's plenty of room in there, and I just love how chunky and junky it is. So I really do love that, and I love this one too. It's just small and cute and simple. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions on any of this, let me know down below, and I will talk to you guys again later. Bye.